very fine morning to you all, and welcome to this edition of Good Morning Sierra Leone. I am, of course, Julian Kuruma. We begin the program with our quote of the day, and it came from an Indian author named Abhijit Naskar, and it says, "Free speech is the phenomenon of human society. Hate speech is an act of Stone Age barbarians." Now, in the program this morning, the Ministry of Health and partners to host family planning conference. We shall be talking to a few stakeholders on that. Sorry. And secondly, the Bishop Johnson Memorial School clocks 60 years. We shall be looking at their past, their future activities and all. Do continue to stay with the Good Morning Sierra Leone program. And at this minute, I would like to invite you to send in your questions and comments on the program. This is the Good Morning Sierra Leone coming to you from SLBC. I welcome you to the Good Morning Sierra Leone. Let's start with the first issue. Health Alert. Ministry of Health and Sanitation, USAID and other partners will be hosting a family planning conference with 150 youth in the country at the Bintumani International Conference Center. Now, to talk more on that and the plannings and the nitty-gritties around it, I have in my studio this morning Buya Nabi Bankura, the National President, Youth Action Movement, Sierra Leone. And also to be talking about it is another guest which we'll get on to later. But first, let's start with you, my good man, Nabi. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning and thanks for having me.
So now, this Youth Family Planning Conference, I know as someone who's a youngster yourself, I'll call you a youngster, do you see a particular need for it? Let's come on from your standpoint.
Yes, I do. If I would just take you with some brief background data to lay the premise.
Okay.
Sierra Leone is one of the countries with highest maternal mortality. And just imagine a situation where considering every 100,000 live births, 717 women dying out of that data. And if you go further, women in Sierra Leone, look at average childbearing age of 5.2, the total of 5.2 by a woman. And then when you look at all of that, about 34% of all pregnancies happening in Sierra Leone are just as a result of teenage girls. 34%. And when you go further, 28%, if you want to be more specific, are adolescents. These are the age brackets between 15 to 19. And so it tells you that if we have this vulnerable population of young people that we tend to understand as the leaders, the future leaders, as some people will call them, I will call them the leaders of today and tomorrow's labor force. If these people are getting pregnant, and imagine 28% of these 34% of all pregnancies, it tells you that is a call for concern. And how can we prevent probably these unwanted pregnancies? Just by the simple means of family planning. And if we want to invest into family planning, it takes a whole lot of things. How can we even make our commitment, political commitment as a nation? How can the government, through the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, the Directorate of Reproductive and Adolescent Health, how can we empower that directorate with adequate resources? How can we train adequately our health professionals? How can we deploy them? Because Freetown is not only Sierra Leone. How can we have these people across board? How can we have adequate services that tends to surround sexual reproductive health and rights? Other countries are happening. These things are happening in other countries. So if we have to amplify our commitment, for the Abuja Declaration that speaks around getting government to a commitment of 50% of the budgetary allocation. Look forward to a lot of other things. We've signed documents across board at the international level. How can we now domesticate and be reflective of these things to the Sierra Leone context and impact the lives of all Sierra Leoneans, and particularly those that tend to have the more vulnerabilities? I'm very sure this is one of the reasons why we are conversing tomorrow. And the good thing is also, we are not getting this at the first time. We had another one in 2019, when myself, I was so fortunate as well. We had that conference where colleagues across the country were also involved. And the good thing is, we did not only spoke on issues that surround highlighting problems or challenges. I am a smart advocate. I've been trained in smart advocacy. And for you to be a smart advocate, you have to be specific, you have to be measurable, you have to be accurate, and all of those other things. What you do is to not only discuss problems, but you provide solutions. And so providing solutions, one of that platform is us having that convergence through the family planning conference. So tomorrow is the starting point. I want to give you more details probably as we continue. But if you ask me, yes, this is as timely as possible, and it is as needed as ever before.
Well, it's nice to get your standpoint of family planning. Now let's go to my good man, Dalton John, the Program Manager, Health Alert. Welcome to the program.
Welcome, thanks for having me.
Now, we're still on the family planning conference. Let's talk about the structure of it. How is it going to look like?
So we are bringing 150 youth and adolescents across the country. That's from the 16 districts. Just to ride on to what we highlighted earlier on. The last conference in 2019 we held in British Council. So basically we are looking at the FP 2020 commitment that Sierra Leone signed. Just building on international instrument and commitment that Sierra Leone signed on up to since 2012, right? And so by way of looking at how far that commitment has gone with regard to family planning, sexual and reproductive availability of family planning commodities, right, at service points, and with regards also to healthcare service delivery for adolescents and youth as well. And so we are looking beyond that at this time. So what we did was we held a training for them in February this year on smart advocacy approach, because we want to capacitate them because you cannot do anything for youth without them. We are tired of this saying, I am serving youth, I am working for youth. No, you must empower them. And that is the very reason why we gave him the opportunity, right, to sit at that table to discuss, to lead this process. We are there because we have institutional knowledge to back them up. We want to look at critical issues around family planning. How far have we come? Right? I want to be true to these issues. Now we look at hard-to-reach communities. We bring in people, youths and adolescents from places like Falaba, Karine, these new districts, and these are hard-to-reach zones. Both these are hard-to-reach communities. So when we talk about family planning, we're not only talking about Freetown, Bo and McKinney. No, we want to talk about family planning in its entirety because people are dying. Boya highlighted the statistics. It's very appalling. Sierra Leone is among countries with high number of teenage pregnancy, and if you look at the data, 40%, right, of death is associated as a result of teenage pregnancy and childbearing. So it's very serious. We talk about demographic dividend. The population of this country is highly youthful, right? And so we will never get it right. We'll never get it right if we do not give them the right tools as at this point. We want to be true to discussions, right? The issues around comprehensive sexual education, family life education, these are things that before now, it was a challenge because they were not equipped. Youth and adolescents will get information from everywhere. So we're very happy and we're looking forward to this year's academic studies to make sure that comprehensive sexual education is being integrated into schools, and we'll continue to monitor the process. In fact, in the previous engagement with these youth and adolescents, one of the recommendations that came out from those engagements was that government should ensure that the comprehensive sexual education should be integrated into the school curriculum. So, and we are monitoring the process, and as I said earlier on. And so the conference actually is looking also how Sierra Leone metamorphosized into what we call the FP 2030 commitment. Sierra Leone has not yet signed up to the FP 2030 commitment. And so this conference, right, will be looking again as to how the deliberations, the recommendations that will be coming out from this conference, we filter, we inform Sierra Leone FP 2030 commitment going forward. And the novelty of this conference is that we are doing what we call the mini hackathon. This is a novelty in itself, that we are bringing the adolescents, they will sit together, right, and proffer solutions. We don't want, like we said, we don't want the situation of saying, these are the problems. No, what can you do as youth and adolescents to solve the problem? Because we have not been getting it right. The adolescent friendly centers that are created, they're not going there, they're going somewhere else. We have a huge number of problems associated with illegal abortion, right? We have statistics and data that are pointing to what a huge number of monies that government is spending towards, right, solving these issues of post-abortion care with regards to quack jobs that people do around the way. So these are contentious issues around issues. We want to be too. How much are parents discussing the issue of sexuality, the issue of family planning with their children? This is very true, and I think Buya will highlight this. And so, just to garnish what Buya said, this is the reason, the compelling reason why we are holding this conference, and that's what necessitated us as an organization with partnership from the State Momentum through a project called the Momentum Country Global and Leadership Project that is supporting us, right, to push this process forward with the youth and adolescents.
All right, Valentina, I think I've been able to understand generally how this conference is going to look like. Let's see, you spoke more about youth and adolescents. Now, lots of people understand that the ages of adolescence starts from maybe 13 upwards. And when you talk about them, they are youngsters, they are children, and they are under the parental guardians of their guardians or maybe parent. But I didn't hear you talk more about, bringing in the parent themselves, telling them that you're supposed to put your kids through this. This is the only way that you'll be able to fight unwanted pregnancies, and the sort. For some people, I'm not saying this is generally the old piss, but for some people, their bodies react adversely to when they go on this family planning thing, whatsoever it may be. So getting the parents involved will actually get everybody to understand how to guide their children properly so that no health risk will come to them.
All right, thank you very much for that concern. Yes, you're very right. So in our engagement, the conference will not only be looking at having youth and adolescents alone discussing. We're having stakeholders coming to the conference. I mean, we're looking at policy level. At the Ministry of Health, we're looking at donor level, right? The likes of UNFPA, right? The WHOs, the case may be, right? You said, of course, all of them will be there. We're looking at bringing other stakeholders together with civil society organizations, other youth organizations to sit together. And of course, I'm sitting there, I'm a parent too. Right? And so we want to be true to the conversation, as I'm saying. We tend to garnish and paint things as if, when we come outside, we look at certain things the other way. But we want to be true to this conversation. Let's talk about these issues. Let's listen to these young people, because we've been making solutions, we're creating solutions to their issues, to their problems, and we've not been getting it right. And so we even want parents, of course, they will be there to sit and listen. Because I will tell you for free, how many homes do we have in Sierra Leone that on a normal basis we sit down with their kids to talk about sex, to talk about family issues? I mean, you've reached the stage of puberty, your breast is coming out, this is what you should do, this is what will happen to you, this is what you should expect. If somebody touch you in this manner, this is what you should do, right? Parents do not have the time for this, right? We leave in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, we have to work, we come back home at 8 o'clock in the night, 10 o'clock, worst case scenario, right? I mean, how many hours do we have? That is why the more reason we're talking about these issues. I mean, and just to add to this, we are so much interested that the comprehensive sexual education is very important. Young people spend more time in school, they spend more time with their teachers, they spend more time with their class in school. So this environment could also help, right, to inform the process. Look, I had a son, and we were discussing about his school subject and what he's doing in school. And I saw an error in a calculation that the teacher did. And I told the boy that this is wrong. And my son was telling me that you are wrong. No, my teacher is right. So this is how much trust right? Young people have they look at their teachers, they look at people in society. And so we want to have this opportunity for them to sit and listen to them, for them to air out their views about how would they like to see family planning. I want to also stress this, that when we talk about family planning, we're not talking about, as usual, maybe the condoms, the gadgets and all this. No. Abstinence too is a form of family planning. So we preach that too. Yes, it's good, and in fact that should be the first go-to place. But the reality on the ground speaks differently. The reality on the ground speaks different. And as I said again, this is going to be a true talk session. We want to be very true to it. A lot of our kids are getting this information somewhere else. I caught my son the other day looking a photo that was not appropriate for his age. They're getting it from the internet. And so why should we allow this? So that gap is what has created this compounding effect to the high amount of teenage pregnancy, and that is resulting to high mortality ratio amongst our young girls.
All right, so thank you very much for that, Dalton John, the Program Manager, Health Alert. Let's skedaddle over to you, Nabil, the National President for Youth Action Movement Sierra Leone.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about family planning, our minds immediately go to women. It's their responsibility to do the family planning. And of course, men should bear some responsibility also. Initially, my good man, Dalton, was talking about abstinence, but that is not the case today. We see how things is flowing now. So men should bear some responsibility. How would this conference, bring information to you, your very self, that will be cascading to other youngsters, other young men, to actually try to take some responsibility in order maybe to abstain from sex, or actually try to use condoms, because condoms are something that some men actually fear away from using for whatever reason, I do not know. But how would this conference influence your very self and other youth to actually take some responsibility?
Well, it's to a larger extent, by installing that confidence in some of us that already have accepted to stand for the promotion of family planning. Because, to be honest enough, it is clear that when you discuss family planning in certain communities, people will consider you not religious, people will consider you with inadequate morals or cultural backgrounds and stuff like that. So having young people that will be generational leaders into intergenerational conversations like this nature. Look at me, I'm here, we are just at the morning coffee a moment ago, and now we're here discussing the same. I think it will enhance a matter of more knowledge. It will impact more knowledge to the young people we are having, and these people are strong. These people will now in turn be those ambassadors for family planning. They will be those promoting agents to cascade the information, whatever it is that would have been agreed on or that would have been discussed. But the good thing also is, before even making any agreement, these young people would serve as like reporters who would want to know what is the status of family planning with different scenarios. Because what might be happening in Way Falaba or in Bombs or in Karina might not be the same happening in Freetown here, because we are multi-related in terms of whatever facilities. Compared to those very hard to reach communities, they will give you revelations that you will even surprise. So we want to have those first-hand information, those first-hand declarations that those people make. And then we ask them the very self, you said this is the problem. How can we solve it sustainably? How can we prevent the occurrence of that nature? That can also be done. And another thing is, it will also install that level of confidence for young people to realize that these are not, opportunities we will consider young people as perpetrators in society. But they also know that they should be solution-oriented people, very key stakeholders as well. Because you cannot do something for me without me. If we are discussing the welfare of adolescents or young people, the health of them, and then we are not bringing them to the table to discuss, then we are just like beating the dead horse, wasting time, spending resources, energy, and then you cannot get the dividend that is required. And so this is very important. And I want to say that myself and all of the other youth coordinators that have selected our colleagues from the district, we pay that justice to them. And I'm so sorry we cannot have everybody converging tomorrow and next tomorrow because of the limited resources. These are resources These are programs we're supposed to have more resources on so that we have more people. But I think this is work in progress, and I want to commend Health Alert and all partners. And the good thing is, the Ministry of Health, Sanitation is also involved. This is what we believe in. As smart advocates, you don't only preach problems, like I said earlier. You discuss solutions. And who are those duty bearers we should discuss with? Come on. The health ministry is supposed to train people. They're supposed to provide XYZ. What is happening? We are not seeing this. And you are providing this way, but this is not enough. This is supposed to be the case. How can we, these are the conversations, frank discussions we're expecting tomorrow. And another thing is, these young people will also be those reminders, because we are going to hold those duty bearers accountable. Now, from the last conference we had in 2019, we'll have a flashback to what happened then. And then the recommendations we made. We'll make an assessment to ensure that if all of those recommendations were achieved, or if they have been implemented, we can make that brief assessment, and then we know our position. It will be just like a background check. And then we make these new ones to see how we can align them with the previous ones already discussed, and how can they be impactful. Because we don't only want to see lip service anymore. We don't want to see a situation where we only discuss with these people, we write position papers, and then at the end of the day, those position papers are nowhere to be found. We don't want to have those lip service anymore. And this is the generation we want to have. A generation that is safe for everyone, a generation that is empowered, and which young people are taking the lead. These people should be they should be at the center stages. You cannot discuss something that has to do with finances, that has to do with my daily life, because sexual reproductive health, family planning, to be honest, it's not just, I'm happy you mentioned that, it's not just about the use of condom. Even your life, how many kids do you want to have? Try to have that very prior conversation with your kids, because if you're not doing that, then he or she will go out there, engage with peers that are not more informed, that are not well knowledge. They can engage social media. Mr. Doughty a moment ago mentioned the incident of his very son. He had access to that, on inappropriate picture, and it is even happening in situations where those people will have videos or have knowledge. And honestly, it is another opportunity that young people will also use now, because most of them are in the use of social media. And if we're not protecting that scape, that cyberspace, very safe for them, with verified messages, or having first-hand and true correct information, honestly, it will just be from the frying pan to the fire. We'll have misinformation, disinformation, and so on and so forth. And that's have a very ripple effect in the lives of our very selves as young people. And to a greater peak, even the nature and the picture of Sierra Leone, because we cannot continue in this way, where we are ranked with high mortality rates, where we are ranked with high teenage pregnancy. And if you really go back, the problems are emanating from, I don't want to say we have not been considering family planning, but probably not adequately.
All right, sorry. All right, initially you spoke about the recommendation from the last conference. We'll definitely get on to that later on as the program continues. Thank you very much for that, Buya Nabiu Bangura, the National President, Youth Action Movement. Now, I should remind you, continue to send your questions and comments to the mobile numbers displayed on your screen, or you can choose to follow us. We announce on Facebook at SLBC Live Channel 31 and other handles. Now let's go for this day in history, because as often our past get to influence our future.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to you.
October 6, 1981. In Cairo, Islamic extremists assassinate Egypt's President Anwar Sadat while he reviews a military parade. Sadat, the first Arab leader to recognize Israel as part of a push for Mideast peace, was 62 years old. 1973. War erupts in the Mideast for the fourth time in a quarter century as Egypt and Syria attack Israel on the Jewish holy day of Yom Kippur. The fighting ends in a ceasefire weeks later, with Israel still in control of territory which it seized during the Six-Day War. 2004. In Washington, a report that undercuts a key rationale by the Bush administration for invading Iraq. Top U.S. Arms Inspector Charles Delfer finds no evidence that Saddam Hussein's regime had produced weapons of mass destruction after 1991. 1989.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Actress Bette Davis, star of Hollywood movies during the 1930s and 40s, dies in a northwestern suburb of France's capital, Paris. She was 81 years old. And 1927.
Wait a minute, you ain't heard nothing yet. Wait a minute, I tell you ain't heard nothing.
Talking pictures arrive on the silver screen as The Jazz Singer premieres. The film, starring Al Jolson, features both silent and sound-synchronized scenes. Today in History, October 6th, Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
Don't cry.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to you.
Welcome back. It's always good to learn from our past that we will be able to shape our future. I welcome you back to the Good Morning Ireland program that comes to you from Mondays to Friday. Continue to send your questions to the mobile numbers displayed on your screen and also on our Facebook page. Let's continue to another issue. Now, the Bishop Johnson Memorial School will be clocking 60 years in existence. The school has produced lots of prominent individuals in our society, and as they are about to go to another chapter in their existence, I have in my studio this morning Moses Janka Bangura, and he's here to celebrate and talk about his alma mater. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
So 60 years, it's quite a milestone, I'm sure. Let's talk about the activity that you have planned for this great celebration.
Of course, and 16 year is Diamond Jubilee celebration, and it's not 60 days, it's not 60 months, but rather we are celebrating a very big milestone in our school. And we have lots and lots to put in place, lots and lots of programs that we have aligned for such a celebration of its kind.
All right, let's get to know those activities that you have put together. People are interested in these things, and I'm sure quite a good number of your other alma maters are watching the program right now, and they'd like to be interested. Maybe some might want to participate in the activities that you have outlined for this great celebration.
Now, firstly, before I outline some of the activities that we've enlisted for this Diamond Jubilee celebration, I just want to give a brief rundown of the history of our great school. Yeah.
Well, just a short one, because
definitely.
Most of us are acquainted with that background.
Definitely. The school was founded on the 28th of October 1962 by the Sierra Leone Church, and it was named after the late Bishop T.S. Johnson, the man who was ejected by grammar school but later become principal of that great school. And he was the first assistant bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Sierra Leone. In 1966, under the leadership of the first founding principal, the late Reverend Samuel Ojumeri Green, he produced 6 boys and 7 girls as a startup for the school. It was very difficult by that time because bringing a new school, a new baby up, it was difficult for you to get pupils from that end, that Fabiwood end. And following the death of the late Reverend Samuel Ojumeri Green, which was the first principal in October 31st, 1969, the Reverend Evans D. Johnson, the son of the late Bishop T.S. Johnson, acted as principal until 1970, when the late Judge Ebenezer Samuel was appointed as principal. He went on until 1973, 11 years after the school was founded. The school had its first graduates from the University of Sierra Leone by the name of Mr. Eric Asandin. He's alive in the United Kingdom, graduated with second-class honors in English. On February 9, 1985, the school lost George Ebenezer Samuels by death, and Mr. Wilmot Cole acted as principal until 1988 when the Right Reverend Julius Olutu Prince Lynch was selected as principal of the great school.
It is indeed a great school. I must hold you on there. I did give you small leeway to just give us that brief
definitely.
background. And thank you for that. Now, Janka, I initially asked you about activities planned. So let's get to know them. These are, I know those are the founding fathers of your school, and you're very proud of them. But now we are talking about the 60th celebration. The activities plan that even the current school pupils there would want to know about it. Some might be watching the program right now.
Yeah, we highlighted so many programs to undertake for this Diamond Jubilee celebration. We started it on Monday on the 3rd. We hosted the school Diamond Jubilee flag at the school compound, and we're going to continue this weekend on Saturday the 8th. We're definitely going to have an inter-secondary school ex-People's Association Gala, and we are part of the CPAS, Confederation of Ex-Pupils of Secondary School Sierra Leone, where we have 17 schools presently in CPAS. We're inviting those 17 schools to participate in our indoor and outdoor games. I will just go through the fixture very quickly. We have 4 different activities to carry out on Saturday the 8th. We have the football match, we have 100 meter both men and women, we have the tug of peace, and we also have the walking race both men and women. For our football match, we're going to see the first game. The Sierra Leone Grammar School Old Boys Union will be locking arms with the Old Prince Williams Association. And for second game is the Abbas Academy Alumni Association, AAA, will be playing against the West Africa Collegiate Old Boys Association, Wankoba. We also will be having the Model Old People's Association, MOPA. We're playing against the Rokel Old People's Association, and the Old Edwardans again will be playing against the Government Technical Ex-People's Association. For the 100 meter, we're having those female schools like the Awogans, the FSLD, St. Joseph Convent, the Vine, the YWC, and all.
All right, I thank you much for that. Now, it's quite a lot of sporting events I see you lined up to celebrate your school. I was hoping to hear maybe a debate competition, you know, much of that. But let's get on to the school performance. Now, we recently got the WASC result. Now, generally, I'm glad you took us back to your founding father days. You understand that the Bishop Johnson School was a school that used to do very incredibly well in terms of performance, but in recent times we've seen this performance, it has dwindled in reputation. What would be the problem of that, and how have you and as an association tried to, you know, resolve that or address that in the school?
Within the last 5 years, there was a little bit of drop in performance for the pupils, but we called the school administration, we sat with them, we look at the ways in which we can able to look at some of the problems that are affecting the performance of our pupils. I can boastfully say for the past 2 years, we have been doing extremely well in all of our public exams that we undertake, and presently as I am speaking, we sent in 378 candidates who took the WASC exams this 2022. Out of that 378, we have 328 with 5 credits and above, and 29 of them got all the 9 subjects. I mean, that tells you that we are pushing towards excellence and we are doing great. We are coming back to those glory days where we have people who can stand for, and Bishop Johnson can stand with some other schools that you think these are the main schools, we can compete with them at the higher level.
All right, I'm glad you took that step. So you had engagement with the school administration, and automatically you started to see dividend. What exactly was did they actually told you the problem that you had to recruit new teachers, or maybe give more ideas or knowledge or certificates to the current one that you're having, or did you have to provide materials, or was there anything lacking that saw to the unfortunate abysmal performance of the school in recent times?
Oh yes, one of the things we gather from our engagement with the school administration, we have at that time a lot of teachers without PIN codes, so they were demotivated to do their work because they've been working without PIN codes. We have also a lot of issues affecting some of our people, like for instance, like this teenage pregnancy. Over the past years, we're having so many problems with teenage pregnancy, but we go to the drawing board and look at some areas in which we can motivate some of these people and some of the teachers. Quite recently, for the past years, we'll be organizing Career Day. We are calling people who pass through the doors of Bishop Johnson to be talking to people, motivating them, giving them the hope that yes, if you go through and pay attention in what you've taught, definitely you can make it in life. That's as a result to this performance for the past years.
Yeah, I see very well that the answers are very generic, my dear man, Jaka. Yeah. So let's talk about your direct involvement with the school. You know, for other schools like Methodist Boys High School, my very school, and the POW, we see they have strong association that help the school in terms of growing. People are making attendance to their meeting and so on. But I don't know if that's the same occurrence in your association.
That has been a fight over the past years for us to get the momentum, more especially in the Old People's Association. And we're also encouraging people who have gone through the doors of Bishop Johnson, who have received tertiary education, to come back and give to the school. That has been our drive because we've been engaging some of those people. Like, you know, you've gone through the university, you are a graduate, come and give back to the school by giving services to the school, by teaching, so that will motivate the kids to do more. And by selling out our programs to the general public, that will get more people, the interest of more people who are lacking behind, for them not to be part of the association, to come on board so that we can build this family and then promote education in our school.
All right. Now I've gotten to understand much strides you've been making, my dear man Janka. He is of course Moses Janka Bangura, and an alma mater of the Bishop Johnson Memorial School. Now let's move on to the family planning talk that we were initially having with my two representatives, Boya Nabiu Bangura and the other representative. Let's turn the camera to you, Boya. Now, this conference, let's get an holistic idea of how your very self and other youths are going to be there, and how who are the other representatives, because when you talk about this kind of conference, you expect to hear big names. Of course, the other representatives have told me about Ministry of Health and USAID are going to be coming. Who else are going to be there in terms of big personalities? Do you have an idea?
It depends on what you call big personalities.
In terms of even the medical business.
I'm coming, please. Even the young people we are bringing are very big personalities. So it depends on the angle where you are coming from. Everyone, I'm sorry.
So now we're talking about family planning. I was expecting you to understand that when you talk about family planning, you have to have people of vast knowledge in the health business. For me to believe that I have a particular, or rather I am suffering from a particular thing, it has to come from a respective person, someone who has gone through the nooks and crannies of the medicine business. So I was expecting you to go to that.
You're very correct from that angle, but again, like I said, young people are very key as stakeholders as well, because if you have in a situation where, for instance, the medical doctors or the pharmacists, the nurses, all of these people are in the center, and then you need people to do community mobilization. If those community mobilizations are not done by young people, let's say for example, then you cannot have the services executed fully. So all of those people for community mobilization, and then all of those other community sensitization and stuff like that, you cannot have increased uptake of family planning if you don't have everyone involved. So that's why I said so. But again, like I said earlier, this is the Ministry of Health partnering with Health Alert, with Save the Children, with the Teenage Pregnancy Secretariat, that is actually from the government of Sierra Leone. That is an establishment that handles with first hand the issues of teenage pregnancy. And they have the aspirations, the mandate to ensure that not only to minimize the rate of teenage pregnancy, but also to eradicate it in the best way possible. And so very well, these are people we already have been working with over time. to ensure that we accelerate our efforts as people, I mean, with multi-diversions of how you can come from the government angle, somebody else will be coming from another child protection policy angle, and another person is coming from an advocacy background like health alert, and you have young people that I'm very sure these people are the clients in a larger extent, but they should also be the stakeholders themselves. So they will be there, and we have representatives across all the 16 districts. And I mean, like we did the mapping, we allowed our partners to select some of their structures already they have, because people have membership, they are cross-board. We allow them to send representatives, and we also have partners that are part of what we call the Advocacy and Accountability Collaborative, which we call TAC, and the TAC constitutes membership. The TAC is just like you have a consortium. We have cross-section of people in there. I mean, we have cross-section of membership across board. I mean, and so all of these people also send representatives that will be part of the program. So it will be a mix of 100 participants, but from different backgrounds. We have to test the backgrounds of all of these people, from far Falabar, and then from far Carine and all of those other districts.
Now that you've explained to me what I'm going to be getting, I'm quite interested to even attend it. That was why I was asking that question. Now let's talk about the previous conference. You spoke about recommendations that were made in order to reduce the spate of pregnancy in Sierra Leone, or unwanted pregnancies in Sierra Leone. What were some of those recommendations, if you could remember them?
Yes, one of them is to ensure that the country, through the Ministry of Basic now we have Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education of the government of Sierra Leone, to ensure the incorporation of the comprehensive sexuality education, part of the school curriculum. We recommended that, and we are so glad that the ministry and its partners are now working to an advanced stage of having it incorporated, and we are hopeful that it will happen anytime soon. I was even expecting that it will be this September, but it will be hopefully the coming academic year. So that is a good news. Another one was what we recommended, that we have a review of our policies surrounding, or documents surrounding, legislation surrounding the safety and security of women and girls. And one of them that prompted the review of the Sexual Offences Act of 2012. Now we have a Sexual Offences Amended Act of 2019. So from that one, I mean, because of our prior discussions and because of our intense collaboration with these people, we also now have establishment of one-stop center. We have establishment of youth-friendly centers, though they are not enough. So, and this is why we want to have another conference now, that yes, we call for the establishment of a youth-friendly center. We call for the establishment of a sexual offences model court. Now we have it. We call for all of those other things we made call for. Yes, they are now there in operation, but then they need to have more capacitation. We need to have more establishment. Like the youth-friendly centers, they are not across board. And now we are calling that we need to have them nationally. And if we say the issues of stockouts, we should handle them. That is another thing we mentioned in 2019. Because you don't want to go to a facility somebody have a right to. You have a right to your sexual reproductive health, and then you go to that facility, you are not treated properly. Or if you can be accommodated, and then you don't have the commodities. Let's say you go for pills, or let's say you go for condoms, and then those pills are not available, those condoms are not available. Issues of stock out. Those were all recommendations we made. Yes, progress is made, but we still have a lot to do. And this is how we want to assess tomorrow. We will make assessments starting from our previous conference and also see where we are, and then at present, and then we project a future we want to see.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Buya Nabil Bankura, the National President for Youth Action Movement. I'm sure this making sure the comprehensive sexual education it's going to be an interesting topic when it actually begins, and I'm going to be coming straight to you for that. But since we're on health talk, it is but logical that we go for this moment for our health tip.
professional leaders in cancer, our 8 Ways to Prevent Cancer series offers a simple, evidence-based guide to lowering your cancer risk and improving your health. Take control. Make a healthy change. One important step you can take: eat a healthy diet. Focus on fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. And keep red meat and processed meat to a minimum. Cut back on unhealthy fats. And choose healthy fats more often. Try these tips. Make fruits and vegetables a part of every meal. Choose chicken, fish, or beans instead of red meat. Choose whole grain cereal and pasta as well as whole wheat bread. Choose dishes made with olive or canola oil. And cut back on fast food and store-bought snacks. For more helpful tips, visit siteman.woostel.edu/take control.
Welcome back to the program. Now, I should apologize. I see some of you have been sending lots of messages, but however, at this hour, I'd only take few. Now, I think this one is for the health alert. They're saying they need to have, this person is saying they need to have what's required to fulfill their national duties. The youngsters, I think this person is referring to. Young people need to be fully empowered and seeing their curiosity to change. Now, this particular thing is to expand the horizon of, just like you're doing right now, so I believe this is a kudos to you, expanding the horizon of young people to know how they could protect themselves in terms of keeping away from unwanted pregnancies. So they're saying, well, a job well done. And of course, to you, my good man from Bishop Johnson, a lot of anniversaries been setting you to celebrate your day, and I do hope that this and all other celebrations that you will be having in the coming future is grand, and the association, your members in the association gets to be part of that celebration as they come. Now let's come to you, my good man, Darlington John, the program manager of Health Alert. Now, the conference, we've talked about it holistically and we've gotten an idea of how it's going to look like. So now, my last question before you go is the location at which it's going to happen, and if it has a capacity to host as much people, because now I myself have told you I'm interested, so maybe you'll be seeing me there. So is does it have the capacity to hold as much people when they come, so that we'll all be able to benefit from such an innovative idea, I should describe it?
Thank you very much for that question. Definitely, the conference will be held in Bintumani Hall, and it's going to start, it commences tomorrow, and on Saturday, it ends on Saturday. And definitely, we are going to make sure that it is socialized, by meaning that we're going to have a link that will become virtual, so those that will not be privileged to come, right, be at the venue there, will be streaming online so that you can participate. And we are very much mindful as a youth-focused organization that we deliberately don't want to step on the shine of the youth and adolescents. You know, this is their program. You know, so we are only there to support them. I mean, to give them the capacity to enable them, right, to ask, right, and raise up advocacy ask around the issues bothering around family planning, sexual reproductive. And as we are speaking, myself seated there, I'm very proud because we gave them the training in February, and look at now how much they've gone far to converge, to coordinate among themselves, build momentum, and to take the process forward. So definitely we're looking forward to very engaging discussions, you know, commencing Friday and Saturday. And also I want to highlight here that just one of the recommendations that we're very serious about as an organization, Health Alert, that we're very much focused in health financing, right? And so one of the recommendations that came out from the deliberation in the previous one was how government could increase, right, their spending, right, towards health, specifically looking at sexual and reproductive health and family planning. We are very key on this. It's very serious because, I mean, we might say all the things here, we might have all the policy, we might have all the youth that are agitating, I mean, they are prepared, they're ready for the services. But if finance and the monies are not available to get those commodities available in those facilities, it becomes a problem. Right? And so we are very much keen about that issue going forward, even into discussion. That's why very much reason we are bringing in even donors and partners at that level to come and discuss and see that you've been doing this, but there is a need, there is a gap that you need to fill to push the process forward.
All right, so thank you very much. I'm Dalton John from Health Alert. This is where we bring the program, the Good Morning Sierra Leone, to an end. But just before we go, a reminder of our quote of the day, and it came from an Indian author named Abhijit Naskar, and it says, "Free speech is a phenomenon of human society. Hate speech is an act of Stone Age barbarians." I want to immediately thank my guest for being on the program this morning. A big thank you to you, and more anniversary to you, my good man from Bishop Johnson. This is where we end. I have been Julian Kuruma. Big thanks to also the production unit of this good program. Till we meet again, goodbye.